Welcome back, and I'm glad to have you back again. And today I'd like to offer some thoughts on the Greek words for other or another. So let's get started here. Two words for other or another. We have the word allos that means other or different, and then heteros, other or different, but generally the word heteros means often other of a different sort. As always, context is so important for proper translation and interpretation. Allos, generally translated as other, means of the same sort. For example, Paul says, lest having preached to others, alois, I might be rejected. When Jesus is speaking about the Father and the Paraclete, he says, the Father will give to you another Paraclete, alon parakleton. That means a Paraclete of the same sort as Jesus has been to them. Indeed, many of the things that are said or predicated about Jesus in the fourth gospel are also said about the Spirit. So, a Paraclete of the same sort as Jesus. When Jesus is speaking to his disciples, directly preceding the coming of the Samaritans to come see him, he says, others have labored. There we have aloi, have labored, and you have entered into their labor. On the day of Pentecost, one was saying to another, what can this mean? And here we have the two words, allos pros alon legantes. What can this mean? So one to another, one of the same sort of persons that we're asking questions. Allos in comparisons can mean another or different in kind, and again, its context is so critical. When Paul is comparing different earthly flesh, he also notes their differences as well. So let's take a look at the Greek text down here in 1 Corinthians 15. Upas sarx he aute sarx ala ale men anthropon, and then we have ale. So all flesh is not the same flesh, but there's another of men, another flesh of beasts, another flesh of birds, another of fish. Each flesh or physical body of different forms of life adapts to its own existence, and so they're different. A different form that a fish has from a bird that flies in the sky. And Paul is using the argument here to bolster the idea of a transformed physical body that people will have in the new heavens and new earth. So these forms of earthly flesh, bodies, are juxtaposed with heavenly bodies, sun, moon, and stars. Heteros generally is used of the other of two, contrasting a person or thing. And you may be reminded of the word heterodox, that is, teaching of a different sort. So in Luke 14:31, the parable of the king going out to a war with another king. Suppose the king is about to go to war with another king here, hetero. Basile. And then at the crucifixion scene, two other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. Now, these are two other criminals of a different sort, i.e., Jesus was not a criminal. The whole theme of Jesus' innocence is highlighted so frequently in the last couple chapters of the trial scene and then leading up to the crucifixion. Sometimes allos and heteros are used interchangeably. and especially in lists. For example, in 1 Corinthians 12, to one is given through the Spirit a word of wisdom, allo, to another word of knowledge, to another, here we have hetero, to another allo, gifts of healings, to another allo, working of miracles, to another hetero, a kind of tongues, to another interpretation of tongues. From 1 Corinthians 12, 8 through 10. So here they're used in a list and they're used interchangeably. Now, one key text where they are used in quite opposite ways. In Paul's scathing letter to the Galatians, he says this, I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you by the grace of Christ and are turning to another gospel. Now, look at the Greek text here. Heteron euangelion, another of a different sort. And then he says, which is not another ha uk esten aloi, which is not another, meaning of the same sort that Paul had preached to them. The other gospel that the Galatians have been pursuing is that of grace plus works, in this case circumcision, as necessary for salvation. It is fundamentally different in nature from what Paul preaches of grace and grace alone. At the beginning point, the entire Christian life, and at the consummation, grace and grace alone is necessary for salvation. So two words for other or another, but they can mean different things, and as always, words are known by the company they keep. Thank you.